Hello, in this update we'll walk you through some new features to our support for Visual Studio Code. Stay tuned to the end on where to find more information, including access to a new COBOL training course which is free to use. But first of all, let me hand you over to Gail Wilson with an update on new features available in the 9.0 release for Visual Studio Code developers.
I'm now going to demonstrate some of the new editor features that are available in the Visual Studio Code extensions when used with Visual COBOL and Enterprise Developer 9.0. So if I open a folder containing some COBOL code, and I have a copybook open here, but the language services will parse that file, and you'll see that I've now got a whole host of error markers in that file because the copybook is parsed standalone. I can now select a context for that copybook, so it could be used in multiple programs. So I've chosen ACCT01. You'll see that the code has now been parsed again and all the error markers have been removed. So I could then do things like peak references and all the language features. So that can be useful if you've got a copybook that's referenced from multiple programs within a project or workspace. But the language service features have been around for some time now. However, in 9.0, they're available for PL1 code as well as for COBOL code. So if I open some PL1 code, this is from the PL1 Kicks demo within Enterprise Developer. So you'll see I now have an outline view populated as it would have been if I was editing COBOL code for the include statements. If I hover over the include statement, it tells me where that include file is picked up from. If I go to another program here, and I can use the outline view to navigate around the code. So clicking will navigate me around the source to each of those items. So that's data items and procedures. So if I click on edit proc, for example, it takes me to that location in the source file. If I peek, I can find all the references to that, so I can see where it's been called from. You can see that I can see that in a peek view via a single click, or double click will take me to that location within the actual source file. So I can get information about data item definition, so a little pop-up appears there telling me how that's been defined. If I was to change the item here, that has introduced an error into that source file, and you'll see that the problems view has been populated. I've also got like a little error indicator, and if I move the mouse over it, I see the error information from the PL1 compiler. If I click on the view problem, that shows it in line, and I can navigate around the errors within that source file and inspect them individually, potentially change them individually. If I close that and go back to the item definition and correct it, I can also do things like rename. So if I do rename symbol to something else, if I just pressed enter here, that would just rename all the references to valid field within that source file to valid field 2. But if I press shift enter, I get a preview display at the bottom of the screen. And if I click, I get a before and after view, which is a really nice feature. So I can see what those changes, how those changes are going to impact my source code. And again, I can navigate around each of these. And I'll discard that to go back to where it was before. So that's a full set of language features now for PL1 in just the same way that we've had them in the past for COBOL. So those are the main new editor features in the latest version of the product.
Well, thanks to Gail for that quick overview on Visual Studio Code. Now, you can get access to our Visual Studio Code extensions directly from the marketplace, and once installed, they'll automatically connect to your existing Visual COBOL or Enterprise Developer installation. Depending on what features you need, you may not even need to upgrade your product to start getting benefit from these extensions right away. So why not join in with the other 40,000 installations of these extensions that we've had so far. Now you can find out more details on all the new features in the 9.0 release in the online documentation, including past releases, all in one convenient location. And if you'd like to hear more about the release overview, including market news, as well as other new capabilities in this release, head over to the BrightTalk platform and drop in on our 9.0 launch webinar recording. And finally, we've created a brand new COBOL training course, which is freely available, including access to the tools. And it's the perfect starting point for new COBOL developers or other language developers looking to quickly gain an understanding of COBOL. Head over to cobol.com to find out more. Thanks for watching.